The cheapest, oldest engine in this comparison will outlast the brand new one that costs $60,000. I know how that sounds. But I've had both up on my lift, and that 20-year-old 5.3 keeps running long after the fancy 6.2 grenades itself. 3 engines, 200,000 miles, one clear winner. I'm Alex. I've spent about 20 years with my hands buried inside these trucks, and these 3 engines roll into my bay more than anything else wearing a bow tie. The 5.3 is the engine for regular folks, the one sitting in half the Silverados on your street. The 6.2 is the upgrade, the Denali engine, the one people pay extra to get. And the 6.6 Duramax is the heavy hitter, the diesel in the front of every 2500 and 3500 that actually earns its living. People fight about these 3 constantly. Every time I post about one of them, the comment section turns into a bar brawl. So I'm going to walk you through what each one really looks like past 200,000 miles. What breaks, what it cost you, and which one I'd put my own money on. Because the answer surprised even me, and a couple of these are going to make somebody mad. Let's start with the 5.3, the one in half your driveways. The 5.3 gas V8 has a split personality, and which one you get is all about the year. The old ones are nearly impossible to kill. I'm talking the LM7 and the engines GM built before about 2007, back before they got clever. Cast iron block, simple pushrod design, no cylinder deactivation, nothing trying to outsmart itself. I had a 2004 Silverado on my lift last year with 340,000 miles on the original, never rebuilt engine. The guy changed the oil like it was a religion and never cracked the thing open once. I've watched these old 5.3s sail past 300,000 miles like it's a Tuesday, and there are trucks out there people have actually tracked past 600,000 and 700,000. If somebody offers you a clean pre-2007 5.3 with paperwork, that is one of the best used truck deals in America, and it's hiding in plain sight. But then GM added something called active fuel management, and this is where I start grinding my teeth. Active fuel management shuts off 4 of the 8 cylinders when you are cruising to squeeze a slightly better fuel economy number onto the window sticker. It sounds harmless, but in the real world, it does the opposite. To pull that off, GM dropped special collapsing lifters into the engine, and those lifters love to fail. When one sticks or comes apart, it bends a pushrod, wipes out a cam lobe, and now you've got a dead miss and a teardown. I see at least one of these a month limp through the door, and the owner is usually standing there staring at a bill somewhere between $1,500 and several $1,000s, depending on how much the camshaft chewed itself up on the way out. And the oil burning is a whole separate fight. A bunch of these active fuel management engines, especially the aluminum block 1 GM called the LC9, drink oil, and not just a little. Enough that owners were topping off a quart every other tank and getting told by the dealer that was normal. But it was not normal. It got bad enough that it went all the way to a jury. That jury hit GM with a payout worth around $150 million over these oil-burning engines. When a problem ends up in a courtroom, you can stop wondering whether it is real. Then, around 2019, GM swapped active fuel management for a new version called dynamic fuel management, which cycles the cylinders in even more patterns. And the early ones, built right around 2020 and 2021, kept right on eating lifters, sometimes inside the first 20,000 miles. I had a nearly new Trail Boss come in already ticking, lifter collapsed, and the owner couldn't believe his almost brand new truck was sitting apart on my bench. So here's what I tell people. If you want a 5.3 that just runs, buy the old simple one. If you're looking at anything from 2007 on up, Either find one that already had the lifters done and the system deleted, or budget to handle it yourself. A lot of owners run a little plug-in module to keep the engine locked in full V8 mode, and I walked through that whole delete in another video on this channel. It helps. But understand, a module does not pull the bad hardware out of the engine. It just stops it from cycling so hard. The damage clock can already be ticking. So the cheapest, most common engine in this whole comparison is also the one with the widest gap between a gem and a grenade. Which brings me straight to the engine people pay extra money for, thinking they're buying their way out of trouble. The 6.2-liter gas V8 is the premium one. 420 horsepower, the engine in the loaded Denali in the high country, the one the salesman talks you into paying more for. And I'm about to say something that's going to bother a few of you. Right now, this is the engine I trust the least out of all three. Let me back up because the 6.2 has a good chapter too. The early version, the L92 and that family from the late 2000s had no cylinder deactivation, and it's tough. I've seen those Escalades and trucks roll right past 250,000 miles without drama. If the 6.2 had stayed like that, we'd be having a very different conversation. But the current one, the L87, has a problem that's hard to wave away. There's a federal recall out on it right now covering close to 600,000 trucks and big SUV models. Basically anything from about 2021 to 2024. Silverados, Sierras, the Tahoes and Suburbans, Escalades, the whole lineup. The short version comes down to the bottom end, bad rod bearings and crankshafts that were built the wrong size at the factory. When one lets go, a connecting rod can punch right through the side of the block. The reports behind that recall include trucks losing power out on the highway with no warning, and even some that caught fire. That's not a worn-out high-mileage engine giving up. That's engines failing way before they ever should. And on top of the recall, the L87 carries the exact same lifter headache as the 5.3 because it's running that same cylinder deactivation tech. So you've got a premium engine hauling around two problems at once. Now I want to be fair because being fair is how you know I'm not just up here ranting. There's a rumor going around that the 6.2 chokes itself on carbon on the intake valves because it's direct injected. On a lot of European engines, that's a real nightmare. On this GM truck motor, it's mostly overblown. I've pulled valve covers and looked down the intake on these things past 100,000 miles and found them cleaner than I expected. So don't let some scary article talk you into $1,000 walnut blasting you don't actually need. The carbon is not the thing that's going to get you. The bottom end is. So if you're shopping a 6.2, the move is simple. Find out whether the recall work has been done on that exact truck, get it in writing, and make sure the longer warranty General Motors put on it stays with the truck. A free engine replacement and a longer warranty is a real safety net, but only if it's actually riding along on the truck you're buying. And before somebody in the comments tells me the recall makes the 6.2 safe again, pump the brakes. Enough of these engines came apart a second time, even after the dealer inspected them or changed the oil weight. So the federal safety folks opened another look into whether the fix even works. A finished recall is a good thing. It is not a force field. Get the work written down, keep every receipt, and do not assume a repaired truck is a bulletproof one. Here's the part that really gets me. People pay thousands extra over a 5.3 to step up to the 6.2, figuring more money means it lasts longer. And right now, that 20-year-old simple 5.3 I told you about, the one with no fancy electronics anywhere on it, is more likely to see 200,000 miles than the brand new premium engine. That's backwards, and it's true. If you're getting something out of this, Take 2 seconds and hit subscribe. It helps the channel way more than you'd think. All right, 2 gas engines down. Now the one that half of you scrolled down here just to defend, the diesel. The 6.6 Duramax is built different from the 2 gas engines, and I mean that literally, down in the metal. This thing was designed to work for a living, overbuilt on purpose. Cast iron block, a forged crank you could about hang a truck off of, cylinder walls hardened right where the rings beat on them, and little jets squirting oil up under the pistons to keep them cool while you're dragging a loaded trailer up a grade in July. The gas engines are built as cheap as they could get away with for a guy commuting to the office. The Duramax bottom end is built for a near million-mile life of abuse, and it shows. These engines easily go 400, 500,000 miles, and there are some out there that have cracked 1 million. When a shop finally tears a tired Duramax down, the bearings and the block are usually still in good shape. The core of this engine just does not wear out the way people expect a motor to. So you'd think the diesel walks away with this. It is not that simple. There's a catch that gets buried under all the diesel hype, the kind you only find out about after you've fallen in love with one. The Duramax almost never dies from the engine. It dies from the fuel system and the emissions equipment bolted onto it. That's where the real money hides. Let me walk you through the family quick, because on this engine, the year matters more than on anything else here. The early one, the LB7 from 2001 to 2004, has the strongest reputation, but the injectors sit down under the valve covers and crack over time, dumping fuel into your oil. Replacing all 8 is an all-day job that runs a few $1,000s. GM actually covered these injectors out to 7 years and 200,000 miles back in the day, but that program is long expired, so on a high-mileage truck that bill lands entirely on you. Buy one only if you can see proof the injectors were already done. Then came the LLY. Around 2004.5 to 2006. They moved the injectors so they were easier to get at, but this one runs hot when you tow it hard, and if you cook it badly enough, you'll cook a head gasket right along with it. The fix for the overheating is cheap and well known, so a smart owner already did it before he sold it to you. Then the LBZ, 2006 and 2007. This is the one diesel guys talk about like it's sacred, and they're not wrong. It's the strongest of the bunch. It came before all the heavy emissions hardware showed up, and it's bolted to the good Allison transmission. If you can find a clean LBZ, that is the all-time great Duramax. I'd take one home tomorrow. The LMM right after it is basically that same good engine just stuck with the first round of emissions gear, so the headaches move off the engine and onto the exhaust, the cleaning cycles and the soot. But the next engine in that lineup is the one I warn every single buyer about. Because that engine, the LML from 2011 to 2016, is the single most expensive trap in this whole video, GM hung a fuel pump on it called the Bosch CP4. That pump was designed over in Europe for their fuel, and on our drier American diesel, it can basically eat itself alive. And when it goes, it doesn't quietly die. It grinds itself into metal shavings and sends those metal bits through the whole fuel system, the injectors, the rails, the lines, all of it. I had one of these towed in flat, owner had zero warning, truck just shut off on the interstate. The bill to clean every part it wrecked out of that fuel system can land between $8,000 and $12,000 on a truck from one little pump the size of your fist. That mess went to court too, and GM settled it. The fix the smart crowd does is yank the CP4 out and switch to the older, tougher CP3 pump before it ever fails. If you buy an LML, just assume you're doing that, and price the truck like a $10,000 bomb is sitting under the hood until you've dealt with it. Then GM finally fixed it. The L5P from 2017 on is the modern Duramax to buy. They threw out the Bosch pump and went to a Denso pump. They finally put a lift pump in the tank, and they beefed up the block. The problems left on this one are small potatoes: a soot-clogged sensor up on the intake, a fussy emission system that hates short trips, and an injector connector on the number 4 cylinder that likes to act up. Take care of it and it'll go 350,000 to 400,000 miles easy. But it will punish you for ignoring its fuel system, or for driving it on short trips and letting it idle until the emission system clogs solid. Now, before the diesel crowd starts the victory lap, we need to talk money, because surviving the longest and costing the least are two completely different things. A diesel truck costs you $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 more before you even drive it off the lot. The oil changes hold roughly 3 times the oil a gas engine does, so you're paying $200 and up every single time. Diesel fuel usually costs more per gallon than regular, and on top of that, you're buying that blue exhaust fluid to keep the emissions system happy. And here's the one that bites people the hardest. If you don't actually tow, if you just run short trips to the store and let it idle in the driveway, you clog that DPF up solid. And a forced cleaning, or a whole new one, can hit you with a surprise bill of several $1,000s. The Duramax punishes a commuter, it rewards a worker. There's one thing that gets some of that money back, and that's what you can sell it for later. A clean used Duramax holds its value way better than a gas truck does, so you get more of it back on the other end. But add it all up, and the math is brutal and simple. The diesel only pays off if you genuinely tow heavy and you keep the truck a long time. If you're a weekend Home Depot warrior, you're paying diesel money to do gas engine work, and you'll never see it back. Which finally brings us to the part you came here for. If the only question is which one survives 200,000 miles and keeps right on going, the winner is the 6.6 Duramax. It's not even close. The bottom end on that diesel is in a different league, and a well-kept one will still be pulling long after both gas engines are a memory. If I am picking favorites, the LBZ is the all-time great, and the L5P is the one to buy new. That's your answer. But here's the part that's going to light up my comments, and I want it to, because it's true. The Duramax does not win because diesels are some kind of magic. Look back at what actually went wrong in this video: the oil burning, the collapsing lifters, the federal recall on 600,000 trucks. Every big mistake GM made on how long these engines last, going back 20 years, sits on the gas side of this comparison. The diesel's famous disasters, the LB7 injectors, the CP4 pump, those are known problems with known fixes that a sharp owner handles on his own terms before they ever blow up. That's the real difference. One side hides its problems until they strand you on the shoulder. The other side puts them right on the table where you can deal with them. And I will leave you with the take that's going to fill my inbox. If you have got the money and you actually tow, buy the Duramax, no argument. But if you just want a truck that runs damn near forever and barely cost you a dime, the smartest engine in this whole comparison might be that boring old pre-2007 5.3 that nobody respects. The diesel is the one that survives the longest. The old gas 5.3 is the one that survives the cheapest. And that brand new 6.2 everybody's paying extra for is the one I would walk right past today. Tell me I am wrong. That's exactly what the comment section is for. At the end of the day, the badge on the tailgate matters a whole lot less than the year, how it was taken care of, and whether the last owner actually gave a damn. A Duramax nobody looked after will drain your bank account. A loved old 5.3 will outlive your truck payment by a decade. And before you let anybody touch one of these trucks, there is one job that scares me more than any engine on this whole list. It's the transmission. Changing the fluid the wrong way on a high mileage. Chevy can wreck a transmission that had plenty of life left in it, and most owners have no idea they are doing it wrong until it is too late. I broke the whole thing down, what to do and what to never do. It's my video on why you should never change your Chevy transmission fluid until you watch this first. Go see that one before it costs you a transmission. I'll see you over there.